Hello everyone, it's Ananda, the Galactic Mystic, and this is the Scorpio new moon solar eclipse breakdown and chat. And I'm sitting here at the river. I got such beautiful feedback from some of you guys about the nature scenes I included in my last video, and this spot was really calling me for this one. So, welcome to my channel. If you are new here, I have 30 years plus experience with astrology, mysticism. I have a vast storehouse of esoteric knowledge in my mind, and talk a lot about all sorts of things on this channel. I also have a private community where we are learning the skills to be a community mystic. And this is something that we are going to need more of in the world. And there's not just one way to do it. So in the Deep Divers community, I teach a lot of different methods so everyone can find their own unique way. Contact me if you are interested in this, or come join us. We would certainly love to have you. So here we are. This is the second round of eclipse season, second and final, I should say, for 2022 of eclipses. And this Scorpio new moon eclipse is occurring on October 25th at 6:48 a.m. That is Eastern Standard Time. Now, this new moon solar eclipse is right at 2 degrees of Scorpio. This is a very special degree. And it is quite telling. We also have an exact conjunction with Venus. I am calling this the moon of Inter-Connectedness. And at the end of this, I think you will see why. First things first, I want to read to you the Chandra symbol for 3 degrees of Scorpio. Whenever we're working with Chandra symbols or Sabian symbols, we always go to the degree ahead unless it is exact. And even though this is exact at 2 degrees of Scorpio, there are some seconds that put it forward into Scorpio 3 in this way. I know that's probably unnecessary to explain and a little confusing, but just in case you were wondering. So Scorpio 3, this is the inside degree, the Chandra symbol from the book Inside Degrees by Elias Lonsdale. Highly recommending. Pigs being fed, feast or famine, generating a world with an on or off switch. By pressing the off switch habitually, none of your deeper needs or desires are being met, and you resent this with an internal grumble that eats away at your substance. The on switch, pressed in emergencies when you have nothing left, pulls in a very full response to what you crave. Suddenly, everybody and everything are there, filling you up with goodies. Yet, as soon as you have had your fill, you starve yourself down to spiritual emaciation. Denying yourself everything is a karmic pattern that you are chronically hooked on. Granting yourself brief reprieves from this ancient sentence is the only way to blow off steam and survive for another round. However, you do acquire a taste for the plus state to come, realizing that if you can release the past, everyone else is willing. And all signs are forward as soon as you let up stinging yourself for past misdeeds and come afresh to life hungry and willing. Now that's super deep, and I can certainly relate to that push and pull dynamic in myself and in my own life. And when I think about that, this new moon is square Pluto at about 5 degrees. And this feels very much like the sun moon square Pluto. So Pluto is pulling back the curtain so we can see the inner workings of this dynamic of extremes in our lives. And Venus here in the conjunction is giving us the remedy. Now, this concept of worthiness. So, why do we go to extremes? Why do we deny ourselves sustenance? Is it something about worth deep down? And this concept of worthiness it's not natural. And by that, I mean it's man-made, it's patriarchal, it's not of the natural world. And we are so just pathologically separated from nature in our world that we accept this, that if something good happens to someone, they must deserve it. If something bad happens to someone, they must deserve it. And, I think we all sometimes secretly wish that bad things would happen to people that we think are bad. And we get really upset when what we think are good things happen to people we think are bad. Now, this way of determining good and bad and worth and deserving and karma and all of that is sneaky and has snuck its way even into the New Age belief system. It's like, if we just think good thoughts, then nothing bad will happen to us. And if something bad happened to you, it's your fault because you attracted it. And that is such crap. It's not true. It's not true. I mean, this new moon eclipse is asking us to accept all of life, all of the human experience. And that includes embracing the unknown darkness. And that includes inevitable endings. It just comes with life. We can't have joy without sorrow. We can't have life without death. And sometimes tragedies just happen because that's nature. So when a squirrel gets eaten by a hawk, did the squirrel attract it? Did the squirrel deserve to get eaten? When stars get swallowed by black holes, did the star deserve it? If we just think about it, it really makes no sense. And we are a part of this dynamic, just like any star, plant, animal. We are a part of nature. And so this acceptance of the scary unknown is what Scorpio energy and Pluto are here to show us. And we don't like it. That's why it feels so just horrifying sometimes and so scary. Look at that beautiful. Look at that. Oh, wow. Okay, so let's talk about 2 degrees of Scorpio. So this new moon eclipse is smack dab in the middle of the most massive, powerful gravitational force known to man. If you could imagine yourself existing on the rung of a spiral, and very much we are, that's our galaxy. And then if you could imagine that spiral is existing on the rung of a much larger spiral, and that spiral is existing on the rung of a much larger spiral, and then go one more time to just an incomprehensible vastness of power, gravity, and existence. That is the Shapley or Shapley, I'm not sure of the pronunciation. I've heard it both ways. The Shapley supercluster. This is the most massive force in space that we are aware of. It is the hand that is pulling everything. Now, there's most certainly a gravitational force larger than that pulling on the Shapley supercluster. We just haven't found it yet. We don't know what that is. So at this point, this is sort of the maximum, the maxed out point. This is the force that is subtly influencing literally everything we know to exist. How mind-blowing is that? And so astrologically, this gives us a certain type of gravitational sphere of influence. And because Venus is here as well, this is giving us a very specific assignment, my friends. So if we are able to release our attachment to the concept of deserving and worthiness, we are more able to be a force of love in the world, a Venusian, a Venus-like force in the world that can affect other people positively in ways that they are starving for and that we are starving for as well. Now, to influence from a place of deep self-respect, with loving discernment, beauty, grace. This is literally screaming at us to make human value the core of everything we do and to nurture the intimacy in our relationships. Now, there's a very special reason for that. This new moon is actually preparing us for the Scorpio full moon eclipse that will occur in May of 2023. And that, I'm just going to tell y'all, next year is going to be challenging to the collective in ways that we have not yet seen. And that's why this particular new moon is telling us how to prepare, how to serve each other and ourselves, and how to be a force of good, because we're going to need our close bonds. Scorpio energy is about intimacy, about sharing, about interconnectedness. Just like all those spirals in space are connected, that's us. We are all interconnected in ways that we cannot be separated. We're never alone, even when we think we are. Bombs falling in Ukraine, they affect us here too. That's why the concept of worthiness is irrelevant. This quote by Rilke: "The future enters into us in order to transform itself in us long before it happens." This is what's happening now. The future is entering us now so that we can both, us and the future, be transformed. So yes, this May 5th, 2023 full moon lunar eclipse in Scorpio will be at 14 degrees of Scorpio, which I believe is the midpoint of the Galactic Center and the Supergalactic Center. So that is another really important, this is huge energy we are dealing with here. So that will be the culmination of what is beginning now. So this new moon is incredibly important. At that time, in May, Pluto will have entered Aquarius, which is a huge deal. And he will be retrograde, preparing to dip back into Capricorn for the last bit of business he has to do there. That full moon will also be opposing Uranus, and Uranus is a busy guy right now. He's full up on in these eclipses. He's exactly conjunct the Taurus full moon lunar eclipse on election day, November 8th. And Pluto will be setting up his square in May to the nodes, and that will change everything. Next year is going to be revolutionary, and we will need to be strong and well supported in our interconnectivity with one another. Scorpio also carries the awareness of our trust wounds. The Venus, Venus and the Sun just sort of held hands and jumped over into Scorpio together from Libra. And Libra is kind of where our trust wounds live. And then Scorpio is where we can kind of see where we are in that. Each sign can only express its fullness to the degree that it has mastered the sign before it. So for Scorpio to truly, reveal all that she has to show us, we really have to look to Libra for that equality, justice, and trust. We have to trust one another in order for this intimacy of interconnectedness to truly reveal itself. So we have some other things going on too. Mars is doing his thing in Gemini. I did a really involved video about that whole thing. He's stationing opposing the Galactic center, and he's about to go retrograde. And this is going to slow down some things and frustrate some things so that we can develop a new skill set around courage. And now the house that is ruled by Gemini in your chart will give you more clues about that. You can certainly hit me up for a reading and visit my website if you want to dive into that more. These are big times. We have Jupiter at 0 degrees of Aries about to retrograde back into Pisces momentarily so that we can get back in touch with our dreams, with our spirituality, so that we can bring it forward into self-defined courage, fortitude, and relying on ourselves enough so that we have something to give in that intimacy of interconnectedness. Mercury is conjunct both Arcturus and Spica, and this is asking us to sweeten our minds and our hearts and our mouths, and to connect with a place of deep wisdom on purpose. Let's do it on purpose. Let's mean it. The veil is thin. We are in the sacred time of Samhain, the time of our ancestors and of the Dark Mother. And let me tell you how much support is there in the spirit world and in the unseen realms. All we have to do is just even the slightest effort, and they just rush right in. So don't be afraid to ask for your ancestors, your spirit council, all of your guides to help you, because that interconnectedness includes the unseen worlds as well. So a very happy new moon solar eclipse in Scorpio to you. I wish you deep peace in your days and on your travels. I'll see you soon.